Hi, my name is Jenny Lauren Dowden for Conduit News. Today we have Wendy Potter joining us. Wendy is a member of the Pulaski County Republican Committee, and she was actually secretary of the county convention. Hi, Wendy. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Jenny. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Listen, we recently talked with Lori Justice. She walked us through kind of a timeline of what's been happening there in Pulaski County, as well as the state convention. There was a complaint filed, and it said that Pulaski County, you all are accused of making preferred ballots. Listen, you were the secretary that night. Walk us through that. Walk us through how that night went. I know that there were several ballots made. There were no complaints filed, but just give us your perspective.
So we knew that we had about 100 new members to the Pulaski County Republican Committee. We also knew that after we had discussed the process with all of the new members, there were a lot of new members that wanted to be included. They wanted to get active and get involved in the party and in the process. And so we had about, I don't know, 70 people that signed up who said that they wanted to be nominated for the delegation, to be a delegate at state convention. So we had those names typed up into a list, and an email did go out that said, these are 71 people who would like to be nominated for these delegate positions. They are your friends, and they would like to be involved in the process. So Lori said in her email, by no means am I telling you that you need to vote for these people, but you need to know that these are people that you know and trust, and they would do good in this position, essentially. Sure. So those people agreed to be nominated. Those names were typed up into a list, and they were typed into an Excel spreadsheet. This was done purely to save time because we knew that we were going to have more nominations than we had spots. So when we started the nomination process, I went through as people were being nominated and marked off the ones, or highlighted the ones that were already listed on the spreadsheet to avoid duplicates. I then added the people who were not on the list to the bottom. However, those names were flying at me at 100 miles an hour. I was trying to just get it done. So I was not grammatically correct in any way. I was just trying to make sure that everyone was noted.
Yeah.
So when we got done, I went through and I made sure that there were no duplicates to avoid confusion, and then I sorted them by first name again. And that is where the first issue came in. So the default font, I guess, in Excel is Calibri, and my font defaulted to Calibri. The names that were already typed into the list were in a different font. I don't know what font it was, but the fonts did not match.
Sure.
So that was the first problem.
Yeah, and then, and I talked to Lori about that, and she talked about, okay, you know, we went back, we kind of matched everything up. There was a new ballot. There were a few other typos and issues with that ballot. And then the third and final ballot, Steinbeck said, you know what, let's write in, you know, pin correct. And what's interesting to me is that there were county officials there, state officials there at this meeting. And Lori, from my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lori made sure to ask multiple times, okay, do we have any complaints? Is there any issue? And none were made that night. Is that also your understanding?
Yes, that is 100% correct. Any objection that anyone had to the ballot, whether it was a misspelled name or a title that was left off, those issues were all addressed. And then when we voted to make the pen and ink changes in order to just avoid spending extra time, at this point it was getting close to midnight, everyone voted on that. There were no objections to it. I called off all of the changes over the microphone so that everyone could make their own changes to their own ballots. And it was all good to go as far as we were concerned.
Were you surprised then a week later when you were made aware of a complaint against you all regarding this ballot? Did that catch you off guard or by surprise?
It did, but it was actually even longer than that. Our convention did run 2 nights. It went on June 30th was the first night, and then the second night was on July 7th.
Okay.
That complaint was not filed until July 21st, I believe. I believe that that was purely politically motivated because it would maximize the impact. So, for example, had they filed it, say, on the 8th, on July 8th, then maybe we would have had time to come up with some resolution that wouldn't have suppressed those 71 delegates' votes. They didn't do that. I don't think that they wanted a resolution. I think that this was about making a point and making a stand on their part. Like, you are not going to come in here and you're not going to take over without a fight.
Talk to us about that. One would think, man, we have new people coming in. They are energized. They are ready to fight. They're bringing new ideas. A lot of people would say, you know what? We welcome this. This is the kind of energy that we need in our party. But what do you think is happening?
I think that after the 2020 election, when people refused to admit, people in our own party refused to admit that the election was stolen from Donald Trump, I think it just really energized people and also polarized people. There are some people in the party who say, let bygones be bygones. We don't need to address this any longer. We just need to move forward. And there's a whole new group of people that say, no, we need to address this to make sure that it won't happen again. And I think that that's where the initial clash is sort of happening. But I really feel like if people would sit down on both sides, just sit down and talk and get to know each other, I think most people would find that we are on the same page most of the time. We just need to come together and we just need to fight this battle together instead of fighting against each other.
So how do we get there? We are supposed to be the party of unity and accountability and transparency and fighting for personal liberty and freedom. How do we get there, in your opinion, after something like this has happened?
I think, first of all, we need to stop making decisions based on emotion. When people are mad, they make decisions that they may not make if they have time to cool down. So I think the first thing is that we need to all sort of just get our bearings and we need to stop making decisions based solely in emotion. It doesn't matter at this point who gets the credit for having done what. The bottom line is that things need to happen. We need to be strong as a party so that we can advance the conservative cause. We need to know that we all have a role to play in this, really. We have to get along. We have to really stop eating our own. That's the only way that we're going to make this work.
Absolutely. And, I've talked to multiple people who were there that weekend and they said, you know what, this was very unfortunate. They wish they had not, it had not happened. They wish they had, known all the details Saturday when they voted about Pulaski County delegates. But then there were also some good things that came out of the convention. And so, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater, but let's recognize lessons learned, what needs to change, and then how do we move forward, like you mentioned, in unity.
Right. Yeah, I believe that 100%. I feel like once we can all sort of get on the same page and do it quickly, I think 2022 is going to work out really well for us. We just have to love on each other and sort of just all start getting along.
That's right. Yeah. Put those small differences aside and realize we have the same goal. So let's get on the same page. Is there anything else that you want to add before I let you go?
I just want to make sure that everyone knows that it was really, truly just an honest mistake, the way that everything went down initially. We were able to make all of the corrections that we needed. And I really feel like had people known the full story on Saturday, when the vote came to the full floor, then the outcome would have been different. I know I've talked to several people. I've explained what happened. I've sent out emails telling my side, and it's the same answer that I've gotten from everyone. Had I known then what I know now, I wouldn't have voted to not seat the Pulaski County delegates.
Well, Wendy, thank you so much for joining us and keep us updated as this transpires.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.